shit.
Crikey, hello, welcome back to the workshop here at Weapons Grade Guitars, and today I've got another job in that I thought you might be interested in. This is going to be a refret and a kind of spruce up of this old Gordon Smith guitar. I'm going to show you a little close-up soon of just what state these frets are in, but suffice to say they need a little bit of TLC, so there's none left, there's no fret left to play with. We're going to have to rip them all out, put new ones in, and get some life back into this guitar. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Righty-ho, so we've got this Gordon Smith guitar here. I'm not quite sure the year of it, but it's an old one, and it's been very, very well played. There is basically no fret here. The client wanted a new nut, a bone nut, and he wanted a fret level. I took one look at the kind of frets and thought, well, this is going to need more than a level because you probably can't see well here on camera. But I'll put a close-up in. There's like no fret here. We're talking paper thin. So we're going to need new frets. It's got a brass nut at the minute. He wants bone. I agree with him. I'm not a fan of brass nuts. I know a lot of people really like them, but to me, anything that's going to make you as a guitar owner spend more money on guitar maintenance isn't worth the hassle. It really isn't. Working on a brass nut damages luthiers' tools, so it costs more money. Same thing with stainless steel frets. Working on stainless steel damages tools, costs more money. I'll save that for another video though, because I've got quite a few points on stainless steel. But I thought in today's video I'm just going to show you how we're going to go about refretting an instrument from start to finish. That's my car alarm. I need to make sure I'm not being robbed. Be right back. I wasn't being robbed, so that's all good. My car is now coincidentally covered in bird feces though, so got that going for me. Anyway, let's go on with the refret. Step one, we're going to get rid of these strings, and these look like they haven't been taken off and replaced in maybe 20 years. So that's already an improvement on this instrument. Get the strings off, get the bridge off, and unwind them. This is a little bit of an aside, but I just got this Burl Maple headstock cap for this Les Paul I'm working on. You ready for this? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. More videos to come on that one, but back to the refret. Okay, nuts off. Amazing. The next thing when you're doing a refret is there's like a test. If you're lucky, when the frets were put in, they didn't use much glue. They just kind of hammered them in or pressed them in, and that's fine. Now, what you can do if that's the case is just get these, which are my lovely StewMac fret nippers. You can just kind of get them under the fret and pull it out nice and easy. However, that's very unfucking usual. Usually, there's about an acre, a lagoon, an ocean of glue in the fret slot, making pulling them out completely impossible. So what you have to do in that case is you get your soldering iron, you heat the fret up to the point where it's almost going to burn your hand off, and then you can pull it out because it melts the glue. So I'm going to do a quick test on this guitar. Don't know how old it is. If I was a betting man, I would say that there's no way these are going to come out happily. But let's see. Remember, when you're doing any kind of guitar fretwork, it's always good luck to start on the 12th. I made that up, but I believe in it. So what I'm seeing is if I can get under the fret with my nippers, and as I expected, no I can't. They are in there completely. One last thing to try, I'm going to run a razor blade along the side and just see if that opens up, if there's some kind of oils built up over the years on this. But if not, we're going to have to get the soldering iron out. Fingers crossed. Don't cut your hand off. There we go. I'm going to try the other side. I'm not too worried about the board, by the way, because I'm going to have to re-radius this. Okay. Let's try that again. I'm going to go from your side. No, these are cheap brass frets, and I'm just tearing up the end of them. So, soldering iron. Right, I'm now armed with the iron of solder. We're going to go down and and we're going to heat up this glue and hopefully dislodge this fret. Now, how long you hold it on depends on a few things. I'm preparing myself for some ungodly smells that are going to come out of this thing, but I won't sit you recording having to wait with me, so as soon as something happens, I'll start recording again. Don't burn yourself. The smell is so fucking bad. Well, I timed it. 10 minutes it took to get this fret out, and as I expected, absolutely caked in glue, and it brought up a lot of the fretboard with it, even though I heated it for about 7 minutes. So, thinking optimistically, this took 10 minutes, I've got 22 frets to do, 3.6 hours. Surely not. Surely not. Okay, so listen, slow and steady is going to win the race here. I really don't want to damage this guitar, or at least as little as possible. I'm going to have to re-radius this fretboard anyway, so I'm not super stressed about the kind of tear out, but you want to minimize it as much as you can. Let's just get on with it. Let's get on with it. Well, a few hours, a few cups of tea, and we've got all the frets out, finally. Here they are. That is the product of our labour. Now, this was not a clean pull at all. Most of these frets came out very slowly. It was an arduous thing to have to do, but we did it. Now I'm just going to run over the board with a radiusing block. So basically, the radius of the board, I'm going to run some sandpaper and re-radius the fretboard, because over time it's kind of bubbled up, and hopefully get rid of some of these pop-outs as well from the frets. I'll show you what I mean, hold on. So, when you pull frets out, the tang has a habit of pulling the wood with it. These were all heated up a lot, you know, the glue all melted, but still you tend to get this kind of thing. It's not the end of the world. There's a few different ways you can go about fixing it. I'm going to radius it, and then if it does need further addressing, I'll talk to you about it then. Right, well I finished my re-radiusing of the guitar fretboard. I went up, started with 80 grit sandpaper, very delicately just cutting the radius in, then to 120, then 220, then I finish it by hand around the 300 mark. So now the fretboard's nice and smooth. I filled in kind of that where the wood had kind of chipped out by the fret pockets. I filled that in with some super glue and wood dust so it will blend nicely. The next step is to actually get the frets into this board, but that is going to be tomorrow's job because I've been staring at soldering irons and frets for the past 4 hours or so, and I need a pint. So I'll see you tomorrow. Hello and welcome back. Good morning. Overnight, I put epoxy and wood dust in to fill out the chip outs that came out the fret slots. That's hardened. I've just given it a little re-radius with very high grit sandpaper just to get rid of the high spots from that, and the fretboard is now looking good. So what I'm going to do now is quickly run my wonderful fret saw along some of these slots where some of the epoxy's got in, just to make sure the slots are clean, and then we can go ahead and put the new frets in. Here's how the board's looking now. All level, re-radiused and smooth. Now I'm just going to cut some of these slots where the epoxy's gotten in. Now that the saw work is completed, it's time to stick in the new frets. This is the exciting bit, should only take another 3.5 hours. Joking, should be a lot quicker than that this time. So let's get on with that. I think because the slots are quite nice, to be honest, at this point, I'm just going to tap them in with a fret hammer. If I need a dab of CA on either side of the fret, I'm going to do that. And yeah, we'll get them nice and flush and move from there. Okay, the frets are in. Now it's time to nip some tangs. We can get these frets kind of cut up to shape, and then I'll be running my super special file. Sorry, I had to cough. My super special file along the side to get them nice and flush with the board, and then put an edge on them too. So let's get on with that. Hello again. Couple of things. Firstly, I'm sorry I didn't commentate much over the last kind of clips. Doing that side of fretwork is my least favourite thing to do in all of guitar making, probably. It's like doing the same repetitive job 22 times over and over and over again. Feels like Groundhog Day, so I wasn't very talkative. And today I got into work and I just rushed right ahead and just started the next job, which is making the nut for the guitar, forgetting of course that I had to film it for this video. I'm still getting the hang of this whole filming what you work kind of thing. But anyway, I didn't miss that much. Basically, I just shaped a bone blank. That's the nut, the brass nut that we're replacing, and this is the one I've made. I'll show you in detail right now. So here is the old brass nut. It was held on by these two screws which went into the bottom of the fretboard. Not quite sure why that was the kind of the method of attachment they used, but hey ho. And this is the one that I've shaped out of, this is cow bone, and as you can see it's quite thin. It's a bit thicker than a Strat nut, but much thinner than a Les Paul style. I've marked roughly where the strings are going to go, and I've put the shape into the nut to match the radius. As you see, it kind of follows along. The next step, I'm just going to give the last polish on the frets and clean up the fretboard a little bit. So that's going to be running over some really fine grit. I've got a whole video about polishing frets. I'll put it here somewhere. Go and check that out if you want to see how I do that. But yes, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to clean up the fretboard, put some oil on it, and then install this nut and get it cut. So let's do that. So here's our fretboard now. It's all been polished and conditioned, looking lovely. Conditioned with weapons grade timber tonic. You can get it on our website. It's what I use in the shop to condition fretboards, and this is looking so much better now. Now they're all polished up and looking shiny and nice. So let's get that nut in. Okay, we have all our strings on now, and we have our nut in place, and we've got the kind of initial grooves cut. So now we're going to perfect this nut. So we're going to go by string, measuring on the third and the first, and get the nut perfectly cut in terms of height. And then we can go ahead and do a final setup on this guitar and be done with this project. So let's get that nut cut. And just like that, we are done. The nut is all level and cut nicely, the string action is really low, the frets are all polished up, and this guitar is ready to go back to its customer. This has been one hell of a job. It's really interesting working on guitars of this age, because you never know quite what challenges and problems you're going to face. But I'm really happy with how this came out. Plays great, and yeah, see you on the next one.